All right, what's going on, y'all? All right. So in this video, I'm gonna be doing Guerilla Hebrew, his DNA. He decided to make a video titled "Wow, Guerilla Hebrew DNA Exposed. European SICARII Scary Hours." All right, so y'all, I know he's not gonna accept my comments on his profile, but you know what I'm saying, I'm gonna make a video doing it because he made some outlandish claims, ridiculous, using his autosomal and his mama, blaming his mama's side for having a, a paternal haplogroup of R1b. Makes absolutely no sense, yo. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, watching this, I'm like, wow, man. Like, when I heard Brother Garfield talking about it, I'm like, okay, that's on him. You know what I'm saying? I've already known, like, if they actually did DNA tests and whatnot. I brought this up in 2017 to IUIC Orlando, and I'm like, if y'all do a DNA test, I guarantee you that none of y'all gonna have the same Y chromosome. And ain't none of them was listening to me. They didn't care about that. They told me, oh, it's about your spirit. If your spirit bears witness to the 12 tribe chart and to the curses of Deuteronomy 28, 15 through 68. And I'm like, that's absolutely ridiculous because poverty done hit this world in different places. So many people done been through captivity. Slavery is nothing new. Slavery has taken place in Europe, Africa, Asia, and America. So many people has been into slavery. But we're gonna go ahead and get to the my comments on this video. So I did a long one for the first one, and I already knew he was gonna respond to it, but um it is hilarious to think you tried to use your autosomal and matrilineal side to try to reflect from your patrilineal side. You aren't a Hebrew. You aren't a descendant of ancient Israel or its confederation. You are no different than Ashkenazi or Sephardic Jews who carry a good portion of European haplogroups. You aren't a descendant of the ancient Judeans. You aren't a descendant of the Kohanim priestly lineage. Assyrians, Philistines, and pharaohs of Egypt carried haplogroup R1b. Maybe you can try to claim those lineages instead. The fact that you did this video and made an absolute comedian out of yourself just shows how lowly educated you have on this subject. So instead of acknowledging you have a modern day European haplogroup or actually showing what specific haplogroup you have of R, you badmouth others who are actual Sub-Saharan E1b1a or North African, East African, Mediterranean, Middle Eastern who belong to E1b1b. You aren't patrilineal haplogroup E1b1a like 80% of African American men. Autosomal DNA or mtDNA isn't the seed of your father that you teach with numbers 1 and 18. Your Y DNA is. According to your Y DNA, you descend from the same conquistadors, Portuguese, Spanish, that enslaved sub-Saharans and brought them to America, i.e., Afro-Caribbean Americans, Afro-South Americans, and some in Spanish Florida. Actually learn about Y chromosomes slash paternal lineages before you decide to make any more videos about this subject. If we are all the same, then why do you badmouth others because of their nationality or ethnicity? Because that's all you do. With your 12 tribes chart, that's all y'all do. Y'all run to the, oh, what's your father's lineage? What's the farthest you can go back to tracing your father's lineage? Oh, does your spirit bear your spirit bears to this curses in Deuteronomy 28? Oh, then you part of us then. You acknowledge our curses. And the problem is y'all not going through no curses. You were never blessed in Israel, and you ain't going through no curses here in America. And what's so funny about this, before I read the next comment, is he has the audacity to use Deuteronomy 28:48, which he doesn't say it, but he used it in a way that, oh, the white man gave me the ability to do a DNA test, Um, but we shouldn't take it for like we shouldn't say, oh, it's legit. Oh, we should go by it. No, 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 no. We should just look at it and say, oh, that's the white man's science. That's the white man's new religion. Only the white man's gonna use that. All right. The next comment, and I got these timestamps. The first one, I just was listening into what he said, and I'm like, oh, the God, this guy don't know what he's talking about. Like he's just a headache. But I do have these timestamps, so if you want to go to these timestamps that I have on here, please do. Hey, I'm sorry about that, Travis. Can you hear me now? Yeah, I got my actual headphones in. I normally don't. So you should be able to hear me. All right. Yeah, I hear myself on my side, so I don't know what's going on your side. I can't speak for that. So, all right. So, like I said, I got this timestamp. So if you want to go to these timestamps, I have them on display right now. All right. Let me see. Zoom in a little bit so it can be better. There we go. All right. Napoleon didn't enslave your ancestors. Remember, you believe you are what your father is. That means Napoleon enslaved the same men carrying Y-DNA E1b1b as your Y-DNA R1b ancestors enslaved. By the way, E-M34 make up a good portion of Jews because that is where it originated from. Albert Einstein is said to belong to this haplogroup. Its father haplogroup E-M123 was autochthonous to the Levant since 12,700 years ago with the Natufian culture. So Napoleon, similar to the Jews of the Levant, carried the same paternal haplogroup. All right, and more in depth, if you're not familiar with the Natufian culture, they were the people that were there 12,700 years ago. They're the ones that first started migrating to the Fertile Crescent. That's when they started getting in contact with the haplogroup J's that were in the Zagros in Iraq too. So Iran and Iraq. So they started intermingling. You also had haplogroup T also, if you're not familiar with that. So and haplogroup T started really coming in the Chalcolithic era. So you have haplogroup E-M123 in the Neolithic period. Then you had haplogroup T in the Chalcolithic period, and then starting in the late Chalcolithic period, you had haplogroup J. That's in the early Bronze Age, haplogroup J. So J2 and J1 came to the Levant in um different like times. So J2 came first and then J1 came later. All right. So the the next comment. King Tut belonged to a genetic profile group known as haplogroup R1b1b2. So you and King Tut share a paternal ancestor on your father's side. So he was making fun of King Tut that he was an incest and he died really young because he was incest. Well, what are you saying for majority of people that belong to R1b like yourself? Are you saying that you're an ancestor of incest? I mean, don't speak so poorly of yourself. You know what I mean? Like I know plenty of people that are R1b that aren't incest. So not really sure why you try to pull that card out, but I mean it wasn't good and it didn't make yourself look good at all. The next one is Akhenaten. So he said that Akhenaten was his father and that he was crazy man and whatnot. Well, guess who Akhenaten belonged to? He also belonged to haplogroup R1b1b2. So you and Akhenaten share a paternal ancestor. So I'm not really sure why he tried to say Akhenaten was this awful person and whatnot. It makes absolutely no sense. Like he was so bad and whatnot. It makes no sense. Wasn't Akhenaten the founder of the first the mono religion, like believing in one God, the monolithic? Like I don't understand like what was coming from that. Like I'm not sure where he came that monotheism. Like Akhenaten was like the first one to believe in, you know, worshiping one God, the monotheism. So I'm not sure. Like he was saying how he was bad and everything like that. Well, I guess if you look at it that way, he shared the same like a similar paternal ancestor as yourself. So not really sure where he went was coming from that. But all right, the next one. No, that isn't actually what people belonging to Haplogroup R1A and R1b are. So he's talking about the synagogue of Satan. So like he was saying that people of E1b1b are the synagogue of Satan because they're Jews. No, actually not. So it was the Turkic, the Ashkenazi, the Scythians who belong to R1A could have been considered the synagogue of Satan because we don't know specifically who those synagogues of Satan were in Asia Minor. So this is my response to that is you want to sit there and say E1b1b is the synagogue of Satan? What does that make you then? If E1b1b was there from the beginning of Judaism, what about yourself? What about your Haplogroup? Don't talk trash about somebody else's Haplogroup if you had no idea what you're talking about. You see what I'm saying? You feel what I'm saying? Because the Khazars carried Haplogroup R1A. So did the Scythians, the Ashkenaz. That's where that word Ashkenaz comes from. If you haven't watched my previous video, Ashkenaz comes from the Scythians. That's what the Assyrians and the Akkadians were calling them, Ashkenaz. So you belong to the same haplogroup similar to the Ashkenazi Jews, Romantic Jews, and the Sephardic Jews. So all three of those Jewish set are Jewish different, how would you call it, lineages or ethnic religious groups of Jews. They all have a small portion of R1A and R1B. So don't kid yourself and think you're special on a high horse because you belong to Haplogroup R1B. All three of them have some R1B and R1A in them. So especially the Ashkenazi Jews with Haplogroup R1A. So if you are by any chance Haplogroup R1A, hey, you might be an ancient Scythian, bro. Hey. Mystical Order of Israel? Nah, I don't think so. Hey, the phone number's right there. You can call in. I don't think they are. And until they actually show proof of an Israelite showing Haplogroup EM123 or EM34, until then, we can't sit there and say it was in Israel in the late Bronze Age or Iron Age. You feel what I'm saying? Because you already know what Haplogroup was found in Israel until Megiddo in the Iron Age, right? You know who I'm talking about, right? That JP58, right? Yeah, with that maternal haplogroup K. That's the only one that's found. And of course, Israel can't go into it saying, "Oh yeah, it was an Israelite because of religious and politics." They don't allow that. And I actually got a paper talking about exactly that, of why they can't release that type of information, and why it was such a big deal when they came out with the Philistines and whatnot, the haplogroup of the Philistines. That was a big deal there. They made it a huge deal amongst the religious groups. All right, so he finally did say something true. Guerilla Hebrew. At this timestamp, he said the story of Jacob and Esau is made up. Like it was it was a myth because it doesn't line up with haplogroups, and it doesn't. It absolutely does not line up with haplogroups. You cannot find me one haplogroup that was born only 4,000 years ago to the chronology of the timeline of Jacob and Esau. And what do I mean by the chronology timeline, right? So in the Bible, when you use the Bible, you have to go based off of chronology. Why chronology is important? Well, because it gives us an understanding of, what people, what happens at what time. So when they're doing, diggings and whatnot, archaeology findings, they they base that off of carbon-14 dating, and there's also pottery, clothing, etc. that they find that dates back to a certain era, like, what time happened. So according to this chronology timeline, I got 1836 BC, right? So what we're going to do, we're going to take that 1836 BC and we're going to run it through a BC calculator. And why BC calculator? Well, it gives you the time, like how old it was. All right, so not going to use January because that's all right. So 3,857. All right, so the story of Jacob and Esau is less than 4,000 years old. So yeah, there's no two haplogroups that share that timeline. Oh, I believe that the so-called tribe of Gadans are not Dan actually could possibly belong to EV13 and J2. But I don't believe the Israelites were what y'all think they were. You feel what I'm saying? I think they were a confederation of sea peoples who came into the land and were rebelling against Egypt with Tutmos the third. I don't think it's how y'all think it is. And the tribe of Dan, called the Danu or the Dinyin, were actual in Egypt as slaves, captives. Ramses the second and third had the tribe of Dan, the so-called tribe of Dan, as slaves in Egypt. But like I said, I'm actually doing a video on the tribe of Dan. That's actually going to be my next video. And of course, E-M34 would have been there. Do you remember that Abraham took slaves? So if you believe in the biblical Abraham, like the Bible tells you, you believe that Abraham took slaves and forced them to circumcise also. I'm just saying, Abraham did have slaves. So who did he enslave? The original people of that land. Abraham wasn't originally from there. No, but EM34 is not the original Israelites. I already have the Haplogroup, and if you want to stay on, call in, bro. Just call in. I can show you, and I want to have you recorded of you seeing exactly what Haplogroup is there in the Iron Age of Tel Megiddo, because that was a royal city in the Israelite period. And we have a Haplogroup. There is a Haplogroup that's there. All right, anyways. All right, so the next one. This haplogroup stuff is bullcrap for you because you do not carry the same as the 80% paternal haplogroup as African American do. This is hilarious. And what I mean by that is the haplogroup, for those that do not know, the Y DNA, the seed of your father, haplogroup of African American men are majority E1b1a, also known as E-M2, also known as E-V13. So African American men carry this, Afro Caribbeans carry this, and Afro South Africans South Americans carry this. Also, Afro Europeans carry this. West Sub-Saharan Africans, Central Sub-Saharan Africans, and some South Sub-Saharan Africans. So all the way around Zimbabwe, all the way to the coast, going to the west, carry Haplogroup E1b1b. For those that don't know, the Khoisan, the Pygmies, they don't carry E1b1b. So, and for those that do know, yes, E1b1b did spread through the Bantu expansion. So it wasn't just the like the language. The language is that's what is part of the E1b1b. All right, the next one. No, what you did in this video is author of confusion. So he brings out the verse talking about author of confusion, and literally what he did in this video is author of confusion because all he did was confuse people. He downplayed his haplogroup of R1, R1b, I'm assuming, due to his mother side carrying European autosomal DNA. Then you try to point out E-M35 for being amongst Middle Eastern and European populations. This has been nothing but confusion. You told one truth and lied right afterwards. I'm just saying. Yeah, the Israelites were just a confederation. I don't know what people don't get about that mystical order of Israel. I'm just being real with you. They were a confederation of people. And yes, they had sea peoples amongst them. The Philistines were not originally from there. They migrated there from the Aegean Sea. So did the tribe of Dan. The tribe of Dan wasn't from no forefather of Jacob and whatnot. They came from the Danube. The Danube is their eponymous ancestor. The Dardanians, Danube, Danian, that's all the same people. They came from the Balkans, from Greece. And archaeology has already proved that the tribe of Dan came from Greece. And no, I don't think that the tribe of Dan migrated to Africa and became Ethiopians. I don't believe that at all. That's what those Israelis claim. All right, so the next comment. So what are you asking for? Nationality of their father and in spirit that bears witness? Wow, nationality doesn't determine what your father is. The Y chromosome does. So this guy tried to use so this guy's like trying to use bears witness. So let me go ahead and pull it up what he's it's one of the verses. I think it was Romans 8:16. The Spirit itself beareth witness with our spirit that we are the children of God, or El. And it's so hilarious that he uses this because this is exactly what One West Camp's Black Hebrew Israelites use. And the whole concept of joining a Black Hebrew Israelite is like the first step is you have to find yourself on the 12 tribe chart. So you have to be either a so-called Black, so-called Hispanic, or so-called African or Native American, right? From there, your spirit is going to bear witness to the curses in Deuteronomy 28:15 through 68. If your spirit bears witness to those curses, then you're somehow magically an Israelite. And if you go to the camp and like you just stop coming because you find out about DNA, you find out that what they're telling you is false, you find out what you're in is a cult, they'll say, oh well, his spirit didn't bear witness, that his spirit, he wasn't spiritually Israel. He wasn't with us. It's hilarious. All right. It's too funny. Asking someone so this one he's talking about genealogy. So he quoted he could have quoted, I think it's Titus 8:4 if I'm not mistaken. He quoted Timothy if I'm not mistaken, but he can also quote Titus 8:4. Let me see. Not Titus. Uh Endless genealogies. And what's so funny is, okay, so endless genealogy. So the whole Bible's about genealogies. The 12 tribes being from 12 sons, that's all genealogies. The first book of Matthew, when they open it up, Guess what it starts off with? Genealogies. There's genealogies all throughout the New Testament. So the New Testament contradicts itself over and over and over again. No, I don't believe that the Ethiopians are Cushites, bro. Call in, man. I just did a video on that. They're not Cushites. I don't believe in that myth. That's completely nonsense. All right, so this is the version that they use. 1 Timothy 1 and 4. Neither give heed to fables and English genealogies, which minister questions rather than godly edifying with which is in faith. So do. So genealogies. Once again, the 12 tribe chart is genealogies. When you ask a man, can you trace your forefather, your father's father? That's genealogies. So I would have to say, oh yeah, I descend from Ephraim. I descend from Antonio. I descend from Domingo. I descend from you see what I'm saying? Like, it's endless, pointless genealogies. That's all genealogies. So when you ask them what your forefather is, that's genealogies. Because you got to ask them what he is, what he is, what he is. What they meant by this is this didn't matter. Once you believed in Jesus, Yeshua, that's all you needed. You became of Abraham's seed when you believed in Yeshua. Ah, Galatians 3:29. And if ye be Christ, Hamashiach, then are ye Abraham's seed and heirs according to the promise. So that's what it's talking about, endless genealogies, because all you have to do is believe in Hamashiach, the Christ, and you're part of Abraham's seed. Yeah, Abraham had Isaac, Ishmael, and whatnot. I get that. But the whole concept was you just have to believe in a Jew, and you're gonna be part of Abraham's seed. That's why I don't believe in the New Testament. I don't believe in the Bible at all. Like, it's just complete nonsense. It honestly is. It's complete nonsense. It's written by man and it's interpreted by man, in a narrative, and they're in a Jewish narrative. And yes, in case you didn't know, the New Testament was written by Jews also. And also those Apocrypha books are written by Jews. Just in case you didn't know. If you didn't have the Maccabees, you don't have Hanukkah or Hanukkah. All right, timestamp. Why EV13 isn't black? So he questioned of like, why does Haplogroup E1b1b have phenotypical like white features, or like Adolf Hitler, which Adolf Hitler did not belong to EV13. I can, like, if you ask me for the source, I got you. They did not. I repeat, they did not academically or scientifically conduct the DNA studies correctly on the family. One of the cases, the guy Mulders followed a so-called ancestor of Hitler, Adolf Hitler, and found a handkerchief with DNA on it and took it to a lab. That is not academic. That is not science. That's not how you do things. So no, and none of them gave up their DNA willingly, saying, hell yeah, I want to do this DNA to prove who I am. None of them did. None of them. So none of that stuff is academic. That's the reason why it was not published in an academic paper. All right, so going back to EV13, so EV13 migrated out of North Africa before the biblical Adam was born. So 7,000 years plus range. There are two expansions of EV13 into Europe. One through Spain and one through the Levant that migrated to the Balkans and through the Caucasus. That's the reason why a lot of EV13 carriers are found in Russia, Ukraine, Georgia. I have 3 Georgian matches in the Caucasus. I have 3 Caucasus matches. Why? Because we migrated out of the Levant up to the Caucasus and through the Balkans. Some of them crossed the Black Sea to Ukraine. That's just how Romania also. You can find them all throughout the Balkan area. EV13 is all throughout Europe. All right. Why isn't E-M34 black? Because it originated in the Middle East. The Middle East was not black people. They mixed with women of the Zagros since the early Bronze Age, similar to the Lebanese that carry haplogroup J2, which 90 to 93% of Lebanese are the descendants of the ancient Canaanites. I'm just saying. Just saying. I'm just saying. You can't make that up. Just saying. And the Lebanese know that they're descendants of the ancient Canaanites. So it's science has proven it. Archaeology has proven it. So yep. And not only that, you have fair skin or pale skin, blonde hair, blue eyes in Israel 6,500 years ago. Yeah. Let me go ahead and pull that up. Watch this. Hey, Mystical, you can always call me. Like I said, I got my number on there. That's my number. Call in, man. Call in. That's all I'm asking for you to call in. Call in. Please call in. All right. The study ancient DNA from Chalcolithic Israel reveals the role of population mixture in culture transformation. Yeah, this ain't the one I'm looking for. Is it 6,000? I thought it was one of them. I don't. That's not the one I'm looking for. I guess so. I feel like they took the one that I used to have down. Oh well, thank goodness I have it saved, but I'm not gonna pull it up. Anyways, they know that blue-eyed blondes with pale skin came to Israel 6,500 years ago. I'm not sure why it's not pulling up now, but it is what it is. All right, I don't know. Um, I, Mystical Order of Israel. Are you that Jacob Israel? You sound like Jacob Israel, bro. I don't know. You tripping? I asked you to call in. I don't know why people got problems calling in. Just call in. That's why I'm live for. I could have just recorded this and posted it. I'm live for a reason because I want people to call in. All right, so anyways, back to the original. All right, so E-M34, why isn't it black? Well, it originated in the Middle East. The Middle East wasn't black people. They mixed with women of Zagros since the early Bronze Age, similar to the Lebanese that carry haplogroup J2, which 90 to 93% of Lebanese are the descendants of the ancient Canaanites. Yes. Yes. Lebanese carry about 90% of haplogroup J2. Yes. This is absolutely correct. Not J1, but J2. And DNA has proven that they're 90 to 93% descendants of the ancient Canaanites. And I don't want to hear, oh, well, being a Canaanite didn't mean you know, this and that and another. Well, being an Israelite didn't mean that you were a descendant of a patriarch named Jacob and his 10 northern tribes or 9 northern tribes. No, no, no. He didn't mean that. They were just a confederation of people who just came into the land and started, this rebellious group going against Egypt. All right. The next comment. Science is the new white man's religion. This one was the most hilarious one, and this is the reason why this is the cover for this video. 1 hour 52 minutes 43 seconds. The Guerilla Hebrew says that science is the new white man's religion. I'm over here like, what a joke. Why are you using technology, YouTube, electricity, etc.? I don't want to hear Deuteronomy 28:48. That is a pathetic excuse. There isn't any spiritual iron around your neck forcing you to make a clown out of yourself. You chose to do that on your own terms. By exposing your haplogroup to Brother Garfield, you showed everybody what exactly people who've left the Black Hebrew Israelite movement know for the most part is haplogroups do show what your Y chromosome is, what your paternal side is, and not every man a part of these One West camps have the same Y chromosome. That's not just for y'all. This goes to Jews, to Ashkenazi, Sephardic, Mizrahi, even Mizrahi, the Romanites, North African Jews. It don't matter. It shows that Jews are not a pure ethno-religious group. They do not all go back to one man named Jacob. That's the whole point. That's the whole point of this. And I don't want to hear an excuse, well, Israel left Egypt a mixed multitude. Unless your chain is unbroken since that mixed multitude, you can't just start claiming, oh, I'm Israel from that mixed multitude of Egypt. It doesn't work that way. You have to convert back to the religion, meaning you have to convert to the religion altogether because your father wasn't keeping it when you were born, so you were forced to convert when you were a child. So you weren't circumcised on the 8th day. No, 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 no. You weren't circumcised on the 8th day. So you have to start from scratch, just like Abraham, his people, and his slaves had to start off from scratch, circumcised as men. All right? And there's nothing wrong with it. Hey, trust me. If you want to go through it by the faith, you want to practice Judaism, that's on you. You got all the rights to do that. You're not a slave. You don't have iron around your neck. Convert to Judaism, man. Do your thing. You see what I'm saying? Do your thing. You want to convert? That's your choice. You have the right to convert. You want to convert to Islam? Do you. Do what's best for you. You see what I'm saying? But when you start claiming that you're the original Israelite, you're the original Kohanim, you're not. You're not the original Kohanim. You're not the original Israelite. You're not the original Judean. Yahudi. You're not a Yahudi. You can be a Yahudish, like y'all, like you claim. The so-called Jewish people, they're fake. They're like a Jew. They're not a Jew though. Yeah, you can be like that also with your R1, Haplogroup R1. All right. Next comment. Christianity was already spread to these people before 1819 and 1874. So he brings up the Akan people, the Asante, saying, using those those pictures drawn by, I think it's like Sir, let me see. Sir, I got it here. Sir Henry Morton Stanley. I think I forgot the other guy's name was, but I know that's one of them. I think that's the one who drew the two British guys with their elder or whoever was sitting in the little chair with the soldiers by them. I don't know. It's ridiculous. Christianity was already spread. Whatever was given to them. And here's my thing. Why don't the Asantis still practice Judaism or Yahwehism or whatever you call it? Why don't they wear this Kohanim chest breastplate? They don't wear that stuff. And they practice their own spiritual religion. You see what I'm saying? They practice their religion. They don't practice Yahwehism. So stop with this Asante the ancient Cohenim Israelites nonsense. The Asante don't claim that. So just stop with that foolishness. And another thing is, Guerilla Hebrew, why you so worried about the Asante? They carry E1b1b as their Y DNA, the seed of their father. Why you carry Haplogroup R1? You see what I'm saying? I'm just saying. You showed autosomia and showed the hypothesis of when they probably occurred of his autosomia. Why don't you show which specific paternal haplogroup you belong to? So he made a comment somewhere in that time stamp that I posted right there that I'm asking this question because it don't make no sense. Like, why are you gonna claim the Asante was Israelites and whatnot if you don't even descend from the Asante? You don't share the same haplogroup as the Asante as the Ghana people. You're not a Ghana. You're not. You don't descend from Ghana, man. You don't have because you claim you are what your father is. So your R1 haplogroup does not descend from Ghana. So stop it. You're not Ghana. You're not Asante. You're not from the Akan people. All right. The last one that I made, he brings up Ashan and how it's Ashanti, but it has nothing to do with it. And I made the comment, Ashan is in the Caucasus. there is a Ashan in the Caucasus, and I'm about to pull it up. So that must be where Nagorno Karabakh got the name from, according to your logic. So here I'm gonna show Ashan in the Caucasus. All right, it pulls right up. So a lot of these people are Armenian. So I'm just saying that must be where they got it from the Bible. Or did they always call themselves Ashan? I'm just saying. Because even the Santi people will say that they don't pronounce it as Ashanti. They pronounce it as Santi. So I don't know why you still trying to use that argument, or if that's something new you're using. If that's the old thing, I don't know how nobody's corrected you before, but that's absolutely ridiculous. All right, so I do have more comments that I made down the line. All right, so I made this comment to this person by the spirit. That's what they go based off of, the spirit of the 12 tribes chart. They don't believe in you are what your father is. They just go by the spirit of the 12 tribes chart. So if you can try to link, if you were born in those certain countries, or you can identify as being black in America, like Chris Tucker, even though his haplogroup, not Chris Tucker, but what's his name? The one Will Smith slapped. Chris Rock. You know what I'm saying? Chris Rock belonged to Haplogroup B, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see. So, and I mean, he's a so-called black man. You see what I'm saying? In America, he's a so-called African American. Guess what he belongs to? Y DNA haplogroup B. You feel what I'm saying? So if you identify as Chris Rock, but you have a Y DNA haplogroup B, according to Guerilla Hebrew, you can still identify with that 12 tribes chart. How stupid does that sound? How stupid does that sound? You do not have the E1b1b marker as so-called West African and Sub-Saharans that y'all claim went through the curses in Deuteronomy 28:15 through 68 in the transatlantic slave trade. How many haplogroup Bs was amongst them? And I understand they didn't ask for their autosomal when they got on the ship. But still, the argument is hilarious. Because anybody, regardless if they're an actual white man who look black or a Native American who look black, they still can identify with that spiritual 12 tribes chart. So put that, that stuff is silly. I'm just saying, get rid of it. Get rid of it. Y'all do yourselves a favor. All right, this one too. Um, Honestly, I am starting to realize through all the years of Alcazar aka Guerilla Hebrews, walking this truth. He has to debate and prove his dad's lineage. I feel like he is somewhere like here. See, my dad is Haitian. What more do you want from me? Tyree's voice. It's ridiculous because they got nothing on him but a false claim. I mean, a false claim that he put out to Brother Garfield. You see what I'm saying? That makes no sense. He's the one who told Brother Garfield his haplogroup was R. You see what I'm saying? And instead of showing what his actual haplogroup was on here, he showed his autosomal and tried to blame his mama. That be my mama fault. My mama fault made me a R1b. The white man science religion made me the R1b. Hey, don't blame other people that's making fun of him because he's the one. Because Guerilla Hebrew's been the one making fun of other people this whole time. For how long? How many years has Guerilla Hebrew made fun of people because they're Jews? They identify as Jewish. Come on, man. Because they're Chinese. They get made fun of because they're Moab. What else has Guerilla Hebrew made fun of? Come on, man. The white man calling them Edomites, Esau. Like, come on. Y'all make absolutely no sense. He's proved who he was. No, he doesn't. And what's so funny is he can identify being a trans Hebrew. I'm just saying that's what he identifies as trans Hebrew. You can literally claim anything nowadays. Trans kitty cat, trans Super Saiyan. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just saying. Trans Hans. You want to be the Hans dynasty? You trans Hans, bro. You see what I'm saying? You can claim anything. Trans Australian Aborigines. I don't know, but it's just ridiculous that for him to claim that he's a Hebrew, but then have a so-called Indo-European R1b, because I know it's R1b. I know it's R1b. He belongs to. You know why I know? Because he actually looks like a cousin I have from a second cousin I have, and his dad's a white man. So I mean, I'm just saying he looks just like Guerilla Hebrew. Just looks just like him. They got the same beard and everything, and he's R1b also. So I don't know. I find it hilarious um, that he wants to complain that the white man made his haplogroup R1b. Get out of here. All right, so Yashab Issachar, aka Genesis 49ers, made this comment because saying their math is way off, but dealing with the genealogies and whatnot, the generations from Adam to Noah. Found it hilarious because Jashab actually called him out. I mean, it was right, but I'm surprised he only made this comment. Like, there was a lot of stuff that they said, especially when he started downplaying E1b1b with Ramses the Third. I wonder why he didn't comment about that. But he decided to comment about the generations from Noah to Jesus and whatnot. I time stamped it for y'all if y'all want to go straight to it. It's 1 hour and 46 minutes. Haplogroups debunk the biblical Adam time period. 100% in. According to the Bible, the earth is only 5,782 years old. Somewhere between that. So give or take. That's what the Hebrew calendar is. 5,782 years old. I have seen you have this debate before about the oldest trees. So I've seen Guerilla Hebrew and Tazar, the other guy that he used to be with. I've seen them talk about the trees and the oldest trees, the rings in the trees, and how old they were and whatnot to prove the Earth is only 6,000 years old. So I've seen them have the argument before. So I don't know if he still believes in the 6,000-year-old Earth or he's changed from that, but that's what he believed before. Before. So I think that's the last one I did. Let me see. I want to say that's it. I guess so. Oh, this is another one. This Israel DNA said it takes it take courage to disclose DNA information like that because now you are open book. I'm like, not really. It is honestly nobody's business to show them your autosomal results. The claim with these One West camps is they teach you are what your father is, but according to his Y-DNA, Guerilla Hebrew's Y-DNA, he is no different than those white Europeans who carry the same Y-DNA. So I don't know like if he's gonna respond to this. My thing is gonna be no. I don't see him responding to these, and if he does, great, so be it. Honestly, I wasn't even gonna make a video about this because to me, I already know the One West camps. SICARII, they full of crap with the 12 tribes chart and all. Everything they teach is just hate. Golly, they teach nothing but hate. But honestly, when you call out other haplogroups and why we look the way we do, and try to make us look bad instead of like deflecting from yourself and your R1 haplogroup, come on, man. I'm just saying, and then you try to sit there and say people in Africa have EV38. Prove that you're EV38. Prove that you are a Sub-Saharan Haplogroup R. Prove that. Until you can actually prove that, you're stuck with the Indo-European R1b. That's because majority of us are gonna know you belong to that one because you showed us your autosomal. So we're gonna know that you belong to R-M269 or one of its subclades. So of R1b. So the phone line is there in the live chat. So if you want to call in before I end this live stream, please call in. You see what I'm saying? I didn't honestly, like I said, I wasn't like I just wanted to see what he had to say because I heard Brother Garfield talking about it and everything, and I'm like, okay, I want to actually listen to what this Guerilla Hebrew got to say. And when I listen to watch this video, I go up to the title. Um, honestly, I felt like he did no different than what he does with the 12 tribe chart and speaking down to Jewish people and whatnot. He did the same thing. He brought down E1b1a, which 80% of African Americans carry, and he brought down E1b1b. And that's, I'm like, no, I don't feel that. I don't rock with that. But we're gonna see something real quick. All right, so this is Wikipedia. African Americans. Let me zoom in a little bit so y'all can see it. So if you go scroll down to the contents and click on, you can do genetics. Y-DNA is the main thing. All right. So you're gonna see Africans bearing the E-V38, also known as E1b1a, likely transversed across the Sahara from east to west, apparently 19,000 years ago. E-M2 E1b1a1 likely originated in West Africa or Central Africa. According to a Y-DNA study by Sims et al. 2007, the majority, 60% of African Americans belong to various subclades of the E-M2, E1b1a or A1, formerly E3a, paternal haplogroup. And why do they have so many names? Is because when they first started this stuff, they started with like a different way of saying it. Then they went to E3a, and then E1b1a, and then EM2, EV30a. It's absolutely ridiculous. They've jumped so many times to say how to say these different haplogroups. And it says 60%, but it used to be more than that, and I'm pretty sure it's more than that. I don't see them having more than more. Let me see something. 1 second, please. Sorry about that, cause this don't add up. All right, so 60 plus 15. Yeah, I don't think that's right because 60 plus 15 plus 7 is 82. So it used to be more than 60%. They changed that number. That's new to me. It used to be around. I thought it was around 80. So that I feel like they changed this number. This is the most common genetic paternal lineage found today among West slash Central African males, and is also a signature of the historical Bantu migrations. The next most frequent Y-DNA haplogroup observed among African Americans is the R1b clade, which around 15% of African Americans carry. This lineage is most common today among Northwestern European males. Where is it most common? Guerilla Hebrew? Read. Among Northwestern European males. Where? Bring it out. Among Northwestern European males. That's right. The remaining African Americans namely belong to paternal haplogroup I, 7%, which is also frequent in Northwestern Europe. So haplogroup I, depending on which branch, there's I1 and I2. I think it was I1 that was in Europe, Northwest Europe, like, during the Bronze Age, Iron Age, like, but I2 was around the Balkans or something like that. Then R1b slowly started migrating up to West or Northwest Europe. They weren't originally there. They started slowly migrating to Northwest Europe. So it was mainly haplogroup I's, and yeah. So yeah, I mean, here you go. So this is the 15%. So is that the reason why there's only 144,000 gonna make the new kingdom according to Revelations, because you belong to R1b and they only make up 15% of African Americans? I'm just saying, jokes aside, I'm just saying, because 60% belong to E1b1b, which you do not, Guerilla Hebrew. So I mean, hey, it is what it is. I'm just saying, maybe you can convert to British Israelites. British Israelism. Start following British Israelism. Hey, like, hey, my British Israelites, my Haplogroup R1b brothers. We the real Israelites. We the real British Israelites. I'm just saying. Hey, that might work for you. I'm just saying that might work for you. They might find you like they might put you in a high position. You could be their inspiration. You feel what I'm saying? Mm-mm-mm. Oh. Another funny thing is he actually brought up his maternal mtDNA, maternal DNA was L, which I found funny because as you see down here, it's associated with West African. So he calls out his mom for being white, giving him European autosomal DNA, but his maternal side is L. I'm just saying, like, make this make sense for me. Like, it makes no sense. How you gonna bring down your mom's and she actually got the Sub-Saharan haplogroup, maternal haplogroup? That makes no sense. And she and you gonna bring her down? Like, bro, that ain't right, man. That's messed up, yo. That's messed up, cuz. How you gonna bring down your mom's when she actually got the haplogroup that majority, if not at least I want to say probably 60 to 70%, just like this one says 60% now, have of L3s amongst African American women. You see what I'm saying? Like, I know not all African American women have L3 or a subclade of L. I understand that. I know there's some that carry R, H, and whatnot. I ain't got there's no problem with that. Hey, it is what it is. But according to Guerilla Hebrew now, he kind of put down his mom's, and she actually has a West African mtDNA haplogroup. You know what I'm saying? Like, what, bro? Come on, man. That's crazy. All right, y'all. Like, I'm gonna end this because I'm done with this video. Like, um, but yeah, please, like, share, and subscribe. And I am coming with a Tribe of Dan video. I'm basically gonna cover the archaeology, like the pottery and whatnot, that has been found to link the people of Tel Dan, the Danites, to the Greeks. So look out for that video. It'll probably be coming this week. Yeah, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it no next week. I'll do it next week. Yeah, next week I'm gonna push it out. All right, I'm out.